The skies of Novus Astra burned. It was a colony born from humanity's second golden age. Blue oceans, golden cities, and laughter under twin suns. A world that stood as proof that Earth's children had not only survived the void, but mastered it. Then came the Karhet Dominion. The alien armada descended without warning. 1,000 ships of black alloy, their hulls etched with symbols of conquest, older than any human nation. Their commanders saw the lush world and its proud banners, and they saw weakness. Primitive lights in the dark, Admiral Zethar hissed to his crew. Extinguish them. Let the galaxy see the price of overreaching apes. And so they did. Orbital bombardment began at dawn. Cities turned to vapor. Forests became glass. The colony's defense grid held for 6 hours before its stations melted into slag. Children screamed through comms as evacuation ships were cut apart mid-launch. Governor Lyra Hale's final transmission echoed across the stars. To any who hear this, Novus Astra falls. We bleed, but we are not broken. Remember us, the Karhet didn't care to listen. When the dust settled, 40 million humans were gone. Their ashes joined the wind of a planet once alive. Admiral Zethar ordered the wreckage left untouched, a monument to Dominion. Supremacy, they laughed, they celebrated. They thought the humans would mourn quietly, in their blue cradle. They had forgotten what happens when humanity mourns to the Dominion's triumph, the Karhet. Dominion ruled half the spiral. Arm, its fleets countless, its power absolute. They had crushed dozens of civilizations that had dared whisper rebellion. And now, with their victory at Novus Astra, the message was clear. No one defied the Dominion. Not even the soft-skinned bipeds from Sol. In the shining halls of the Dominion's grand spire, ambassadors and warlords feasted on victory. Their crystalline goblets rang with laughter. Humans spoke of peace, one minister sneered. They build colonies as if they own the stars, yet they die like animals. Their screams were almost musical. Zethar grinned, his fangs glinting. Let their kin look upon the ruins and despair. They will remember their place beneath us. The chamber erupted in laughter, cruel, resonant, unchallenged. Reports trickled in over the following weeks. Sol had gone silent. No messages, no responses. The humans, it seemed, were grieving, withdrawn, broken. Some Dominion strategists argued for another strike, to ensure the Terrans never rebuilt. But the High Council refused. Waste no effort on the dead, said Archlord Kreth. Let the ashes rot. The humans are finished. Yet in the dark void between stars, something stirred, something ancient, something angry, and the silence that followed was not mourning. It was preparation, twere. The silence before the storm. For 93 standard days, no human vessel was sighted. No transmissions from Sol Dominion intelligence assumed collapse. But their scouts noticed things they could not explain. Mining stations near human space, evacuated. Shipyards emptied. Patrols near the Sol border, vanished. Their last logs showing sensor ghosts. Zethar dismissed it all. Let them hide. Fear will consume them. He was wrong. In a hidden system at the edge of the Orion Spur, humanity gathered. Every admiral, every captain, every forge and dockyard of the Terran Union went silent. Not because they were afraid, but because they were building. The human fleets had never been idle. They had always watched, always learned. And now, for the first time in generations, they forged for war. Orbital rings glowed with new alloys. Dreadnoughts the size of continents rose from shipyards older than nations. Artificial intelligence constructs awoke from cold vaults marked only in direst need. Admiral Elias Vance, commander of the Sol fleet, addressed his people in secret. They saw us bleed, and they laughed. They believe us soft. They have forgotten our history. Forgotten that from the ashes of every empire, we rise sharper, harder, colder. We will remind them. The fleet was codenamed Retribution Protocol. No fanfare, no broadcasts, no mercy. 4. The first whisper began on the Dominion frontier, a quiet sector where Karhet mining worlds fed the war machine. One night, the stars dimmed. Scouts detected an energy surge near the Veil Nebula. Then, static. Entire patrol wings vanished without distress calls. Stations lost contact with their colonies. 3 days later, a transmission pierced the Dominion's encrypted channels. A human voice, distorted by static, Novus Astra remembers. And then the stars burned. Human ships emerged from subspace, sleek, black, and silent. No insignias, no demands. They moved like ghosts, engines whispering through vacuum. The Karhet garrisons opened fire. Their weapons didn't even scratch the shields before vanishing under kinetic storms that tore moons apart. The first human super dreadnought, TNS Oathkeeper, unleashed its rail cannon, a weapon so vast it cracked the crust of a planet. In 6 hours, the entire Karhet frontier ceased to exist. And still, Earth said nothing, no claim, no declaration, no warning, just silence. The kind of silence that crawled under the skin of every alien who once laughed at the word human. The rise of retribution. Dominion panic spread fast. Fleets scrambled, systems fortified. But humanity's vengeance was already in motion. Precise, methodical, unstoppable. Every colony that had participated in the Novus Astra massacre burned. Commanders who had given the order were hunted down, not killed, but captured, brought to trial before human war tribunals, streamed across every channel. Admiral Vance himself presided. "You called us primitives," he said as one of the captured Karhet sneered from his cell. "You thought empathy made us weak. You mistook patience for surrender." "You were wrong," the alien spat. "You cannot defeat an empire." Vance only stared. "We already have." At that moment, the Dominion homeworld's outer moons erupted into fire. Humanity had struck at the heart. The Oathkeeper, the Vigilant Dawn, and the Hammer of Sol entered the system. Dreadnoughts so vast their shadows eclipsed continents. Each carried enough ordnance to sterilize worlds. Dominion fleets swarmed, billions strong. It didn't matter. Human AIs unleashed tactical warfare that predicted every move before it happened. Quantum lances sliced through ships like ribbons. Orbital cannons fired kinetic projectiles traveling at near light speed, ripping apart entire battle groups before their sensors registered impact. And when the Karhet tried to retreat, they found their subspace gates collapsing, sabotaged, weeks earlier by human infiltration teams. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Humanity had turned the galaxy's own arrogance against it day. The fall of the Dominion on the third day of the Sol offensive. Dominion Command finally understood what they faced. A race that had seen its colonies burn and decided, calmly, deliberately, that no empire would ever threaten them again. The human fleets advanced with surgical precision, each system falling in less than a day. Their warships did not pause for negotiation or ransom. Every act of cruelty from Novus Astra was returned tenfold. Entire planetary garrisons surrendered, only to find their cities empty when human marines arrived. The civilians were unharmed, evacuated, given food and medicine. It was only the soldiers, the rulers, the architects of suffering who faced the storm. When the Dominion capital finally fell, the skies rained with their ship's debris. The grand spire where Zethar once boasted lay cracked and silent, its towers glowing red from orbital fire. Zethar himself was captured. Brought before the remnants of his council, he looked into human eyes and saw no hatred, only cold purpose. "They said you were monsters," he whispered. "That you would burn everything." Vance's voice was quiet. "No, monsters act without reason. We act with memory." Zethar lowered his eyes. "And now?" "Now," said Vance. "You remember too. The execution was swift. No spectacle. No torture. Just justice. Delivered with the efficiency of a species done asking for mercy." 7th. The ashes and the echoes, when the smoke cleared, a silence heavier than gravity settled over the stars. The Dominion was gone. Their fleets reduced to wreckage, their empire dissolved into fragmented worlds under Terran oversight. Humanity didn't claim their planets. They didn't enslave or plunder. They simply left a message, broadcast across every frequency. "We do not seek conquest. We seek remembrance. Harm us, and you will not forget what follows." Across the galaxy, species that once mocked humans now spoke their name with reverence and fear. Trade convoys rerouted to avoid Sol space. Diplomatic envoys bowed deeper. Even the most warlike civilizations studied the ashes of the Dominion and whispered. They saw them bleed, and then saw them rise. But back on Earth, there were no celebrations, no parades. In the quiet of orbiting memorial stations, the names of Novus Astra's dead shimmered in blue light. Families placed hands on the glass, whispering promises kept. Admiral Vance stood alone on the deck of the Oathkeeper, watching the sunrise over Sol. "We are not gods," he murmured. "We are human. That is enough." Behind him, the fleet drifted in formation, still, silent, waiting. Because humanity knew peace was not the absence of war. It was the warning carved into the stars, a warning written in fire and blood. "We bleed, but we rise." 8. The whispered fear generations passed, Empires rose and fell. The story of the Dominion faded into myth. But whenever a new power began to dream of conquest, they would hear the tale, told in hushed tones by elders and traders, a tale of a species from a small blue world, a species that endured every wound the stars could give, and came back stronger every time. The scholars called it the Terran Principle. The soldiers called it the Vengeance Doctrine. But to the common people of the galaxy, it was something